The sun rises over a land of barren mountains and blue seas, a place we now call Greece. This is not the unified country we know today, but a collection of independent city-states, each with its own customs and rules. Our focus is not on wars or emperors, though they did exist, but on something perhaps more personal, the experience of the single man, a life path limited and defined by the societies they inhabited. In Sparta, the very notion of celibacy was unusual. Men's lives were dictated by one principle: service to the state. From the age of 7, boys were taken from their families and placed in barracks. Training to be soldiers, marriage, though expected, was not a priority until a man reached his late 20s, even 30s. Personal desire was secondary to producing strong warriors. This was a society built for war, not romance, and the institution of marriage served the military requirements of the state. This delay in marriage was not simply a quirk. It was an integral part of the Spartan system. A bachelor in Sparta, a man still unmarried, and under 30, lived within the military structure. This kept him under constant supervision, his life directly controlled by the state. His freedom was almost non-existent. His purpose was to train, fight, and eventually procreate for the defense of Sparta. There was also the Cryptia, a form of state-sanctioned secret police staffed by young Spartans, further enforcing control and obedience. If Sparta was a military machine, Athens was a forum for ideas. Here, a different kind of celibacy existed, although marriage was considered the norm and necessary to maintain a family line. Not all men were quick to do so. In Athens, wealth and status could influence the timing of marriage. A man from an aristocratic family might delay marriage in order to acquire more land, climb the political ladder, or engage in intellectual pursuits such as philosophy and debate. Athenian society offered bachelors an alternative social environment, although they were expected to contribute to society through civic duties. The pressures on them were not identical to those in Sparta. Celibacy was not seen as a rejection of social norms, but rather as a phase of life. Single Athenian men were able to participate in public life and develop their skills and intellect. They gathered in the agora, the public marketplace, and also participated in theatrical performances. Although the family was paramount in Athenian culture, this period of non-marriage offered specific opportunities for an individual's development. Of course, Greece was more than just Athens and Sparta. Corinth, a major trading center, viewed celibacy from a slightly different perspective. Here, business often came before marriage. A young man might spend his formative years working to build his fortune, postponing marriage until his financial future was secure. And in Thebes, a city with its own military traditions, celibacy was influenced by its political structure. Throughout the Greek world, social expectations and economic factors influenced the path of the single man. The conquests of Alexander the Great changed the landscape of the Greek world. New kingdoms emerged, influenced by Greek culture, but also by the traditions of the conquered lands. This Hellenistic era offered new opportunities for the single man. Military service became an option. In these larger armies, not just for the Spartans, as urban growth increased, new jobs emerged, allowing men more economic independence. Celibacy became a little more varied and perhaps for some, a little less dictated by the expectations of the past. The rise of Rome marked a shift in the power dynamics of the Greek world. Roman culture, with its own distinct views on family and marriage, gradually began to impact Greek society. While Greek traditions persisted, the pressures of Roman ways of life made their presence felt. As Rome incorporated more of Greece into its empire, the single life began to adapt once again. The Romans valued social order and family ties, which put pressure on the concept of singleness. The later years of the Roman Empire, as it moved east and became known as Byzantium, saw the rise of Constantinople. Here, celibacy was viewed through a new prism, the Christian faith. While marriage was still encouraged, there was the rise of monasticism, which provided another avenue for single men focused on spiritual pursuits rather than worldly concerns. The life of the single man became even more diverse, influenced by state, faith, and economic factors. From the disciplined barracks of Sparta to the intellectual circles of Athens to the bustling markets of Corinth, the experience of the single man in the ancient Greek world was anything but uniform. It was a reflection of the societies in which they lived, shaped by military necessity, philosophical ideals, religious beliefs, and the desire to carve out a place for themselves in an ever-changing world. The concept of the single man in ancient Greece provides a lens through which we can view the diversity of the cultures that thrived. It allows us to understand not only what it meant to be a man, but also how societies defined the individual within the larger community. From the ancient city-states to the great city of Constantinople, the lives of men, whether married or not, were intertwined with the history of ancient Greece.